Howdy, I'm John Satram.
And I'm Nick Breeze.
And we're running an event series called DREAM, or Data Rules Everything Around Me, presented by Mozilla in partnership with Netizen. We're told that publishing our lives online is making the world more open and connected.
And it's also good for internet stalking, as you might know if you've ever spent any time researching somebody online.
Now imagine if somebody could also creep through all the data on your phone. Have you ever wondered what happens to the zombie data on our old devices?
We recently sat down with Melody Hass, who works at a digital forensics firm called ForDiscovery. She specializes in internet-based investigative and intelligence research and analysis.
When you think about privacy, people say, but I have nothing to hide. But it's not really about having something to hide. It's, hey, maybe I don't want the whole world knowing every single thing about me. Hi, my name's Melody. I'm a professional creeper. By that, I mean that I go out onto the internet and I find all the things about all the people. So my goal is to take some type of person, event, entity, and find anything and everything that I can about them online. Most people don't think about the way that they're creating data. All throughout your life, you're generating these data points. We have that birth certificate, we have addresses of all the places we live, and then we have all this stuff online. I got into this by working at an investigative agency. I knew a lot about social media and nobody really knew how to do online investigations. I sort of became a subject matter expert in it by accident. The company that I work for ForDiscovery, we went out onto the internet and we bought a whole bunch of phones. These were broken, they were for parts. Think about that person you know who drops their phone or breaks it all the time, and that phone ends up getting traded in or lost somewhere. It really opened my eyes to how much data we create on ourselves. And so what was on the devices was kind of all across the gamut. The emails, the text messages, the photos, the normal stuff that you would think of. But then people will have, personal information saved on their notepad because they can't remember, their garage door code, or because they can't remember somebody's birthday or social security number. And then they thought that because their phone was broken when they got rid of it, whether it was, they recycled it at Target, or they went to the phone store and they said, hey, phone person, my phone doesn't work anymore. I need a new phone. A lot of times these devices don't get wiped, and so all of this data was still sitting there. And I was able to build out full online profiles of all these different individuals from all around the country using these phones. Now I just think oh my gosh, the phones, they're so creepy, right? It also made me want to go take my phone and throw it through a chip restarter. My mom was doing one of those innocuous things on Facebook, tell somebody about your firstborn child, but during the course of that, she's revealing my name, my age, my birth date, a whole bunch of personal information, which is when I had to have the conversation about, hey mom, digital privacy, it's a thing. We probably shouldn't do that. Not everybody has this skill set and not everybody thinks about it through this lens. We have to get people on the same page. Even if you don't really use a computer, even if you don't try to participate in society, there's gonna be someone that takes the photo, posts the information about you. The government has you in a database. Equifax has your credit history. There's still gonna be things about you online, so you can't really just hide away from technology. Ultimately, we really need to rethink our relationship with data, how we create it, how it's stored, how we regulate it. Let's face it, all the laws about technology really haven't caught up with where we are today in society. Until the laws can actually help us address a way for us to own our own data, I think that we're gonna keep finding ourselves in this sort of data breach place. I'll generically call it the data breach place, whether it's our lost phones or somebody creeping on our internet profiles like me, or whatever you want to call it. Without thinking about it and coming up with a solution, I think we kind of don't have a lot of hope, which is not really the answer that we want here, but it becomes a really difficult thing to untangle 15 years into the sort of Web 2.0. We really can't undo what we've done, but we have to come up with a way to mitigate what we're doing now.